The following presentation is brought to you through the paid memberships of NotaryStars.com, the only notary training platform and resource library with over 150 hours of training on every loan product under the sun. Together with our sister website, OnlineNotariesPublic.com, which focuses on notaries who are pioneering in remote online notary, we strive to give you a safe place to ask questions, get answers, gain confidence in your notary career, and achieve success without overfabricating the truths about our industry. If you would like to support us, please consider liking this video, subscribing to our channel, sharing this video with a colleague, or becoming a member and trusting us to help you achieve the level of success you desire.
Well, hi there, friends. Welcome to all the notaries and signing agents from across the U.S. Thank you for spending your evening with us. This is MGM, also known as Monday General Mentorship, brought to you by Notary Stars every Monday, except holidays, at 5 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, 8 p.m. Eastern. Today is Monday, June 24th, 2024. If you're not quite sure who we are, and this is your first time here, Notary Stars is a notary and signing agent training platform. We train on just about everything under the sun, like notary basics, and almost every type of loan file there is out there for the loan signing agent. 32 files currently. We train on the ins and outs of remote online notarization as well. And we have the very best notary business marketing course that focuses on teaching you how to market your business yourself rather than purchasing more and more components from others. For everything else that we don't personally train on, we try to bring in the best and the brightest trainers for topics that you're interested in. And if you've never trained with us before and are curious about how our training looks and feels, we are hosting an open house on July 13th, that's Saturday, at 11 a.m., where we will introduce you to one of our newest files. It's a VA Veterans Assumption Loan Package. All you need to do is register to join at the link that Ronnie just posted in the chat, and then attend at 11 o'clock Mountain Time on that Saturday, July 11th. My name is Beth Hathout, and I'm joined by my co-host, Mr. Ronnie Mickle, Mr. William Bumfrey, aka Mr. Bill, and Kirsten Bly. We're all here to help you excel in your notary journey. Tonight's session is all about you, the nationwide notary community. We're dedicated to signing agent excellence. After all, that's why you're here, isn't it? Because you're dedicated to perfecting your craft as a notary and as a signing agent, and focused on learning more about our industry so you can not only be successful, but be an asset to anyone who hires you. So to help make this session a little more successful, please fire up those cameras. We want to see your beautiful faces. It's so much easier to do this when we can see your reactions, your faces, your smiles, your head nods and shakes, right? We want to have you interact with us as well. So if you have any questions or want to share something with the other fellow notaries that are here tonight, like a tip or a trick that you use in your business, no sweat. Just raise your virtual hand using the raise hand feature at the bottom of your screen, or if you prefer keyboard combinations, try Alt plus Y if you're on a PC, or Option plus Y if you're on Mac. One final thing here before we get started. As always, keep your eye on the chat as the evening progresses, or in the description if you're watching the replay, for links to other important information. And that's usually my spiel, Mr. Ronnie. So if you are ready, go ahead and kick us off here.
All right, so I just want to start with a quick overview of the updates to the homepage of Notary Stars so you guys are aware. And please make sure that I remember to unshare my screen before I move on to the next update. By the way, the new profiles that we talked about in previous sessions, they are like this close to going live. Showed it to the staff this morning during our meeting, and they were like, wow, this looks great. You guys are going to love it. Again, we're calculating all your reviews from Google, Yelp, all the places into one cumulative review. All your signings from SnapDoc signing order, ZigSig are going to be totaled up on your page. That learn about more about me at Notary Stars button is going to really mean something when you put it in your profile. And I see so many people doing it. But I'm going to share my screen here for just a second. Make sure you're aware of the updates to the homepage. And just making sure that we have the Notary Stars site up there. Okay, perfect. So on the homepage, we're trying to make it easier for you. Now, we have our welcome video, which walks you through all the sections of Notary Stars when you're logged in as a member. But on the homepage, we wanted to make things a little bit more easy for you. You can see the slider for all the new members that are coming in, of course. And then we also have now we've gotten rid of the calendar because we felt it was too hard to read. We now have this scrolling calendar here showing you what's coming up, and it's going to fall off every night at midnight. If it's already done, it's done. The new mentorship or class that's coming up will now be scrolling across the top. You can click view all on any of these so that you can see all of them coming up. You can mark your calendar with them. It'll tell you information about them. So you can see all of those classes that we're having, if we're closed or not. Then our classes, we've been asked for this for many times now. We're only doing the classes at this point, but all of the training material will be under this section where you can scroll through and see what we actually have to train on and all of those file types. Those are the previous or recorded classes. Now, when you click on one of these, you're going to be able to go in here and it's going to say that you want to go to class. That was actually the wrong one because that's a public information. Sorry here. Got to get back here. So if you click on one of these classes here, you'll be able to access the class and it'll take you to an instructor's page when you start your training. So you can actually search for these. And if you're not a member, it won't let you go through. But if it's a free class, you'll be able to take it. Now, when it comes to the instructor's page, it'll let you know who's teaching that class for that day when you go through, and their contact information will be there for you. But you can search these classes. All you have to do is click view all on any of them. And I'm sorry, it takes a minute on my Wi-Fi to load. So if you click view all, you're able to go in and type, a certain type of document or certain thing, a class or a certain file type that you're trying to search for and find it much more quicker. That search box is going to be located on either side of this. We're not finished building it yet, so it's not quite searchable, but it's going to be searchable. You'll be able to search it just like you search the blogs, and then any keyword that you have will come up. Now, this has been a project that we've been working on for quite a while. Again, that open house, which I posted in the chat, is still on the homepage. If you've missed any general mentorships, we put them all here so that you can come to them. All of the blogs are still there, and any notary discussions. And then everything else about Notary Stars, any kind of merch or anything like that. But you guys aren't interested in buying Notary Stars merch. You don't want one of these cool lamps back here or one of these cool Notary Star necklaces. I mean, you don't want any of that stuff. So that's all on there. I'm going to stop sharing my screen so nobody needs to remind me now. I want to share with you guys to kick off the meeting tonight some things that I've learned. And first of all, I have to say, because you're going to hear some of these things coming up, and I have two quick segments, and then we're going to get to as many questions as we possibly can. Tonight, I want to tell you about conferences, okay? I've said it before, my marketing students know it. I've said it before, but I just had a notary today say, wow, you really speak the truth. Be careful about being suckered into going to conferences as a notary who are catering to notaries. Your dollars, especially if you've been doing this a year or more, should not be spent going to the National Notary Association conference. It should not be spent going to any notary conference, honestly. You can get most of your training online at virtual events for a fraction of the cost, not just through Notary Stars, but through other channels. You want to put your marketing dollars into going to your Escrow Association conference in your state, or if you're a signing service, into other states, okay? I just got back from the Arizona Escrow Association conference, and I want to say two thank yous. One is to Miss June Siegel-Hill, who is here tonight, and one is to Susan Burgo. June actually edited, I don't know how many times, our banners, which looked amazing. If you're not in our Facebook group or on our Instagram, go check them out. They were awesome. She went through it and thought about it and slept on it and came back and said, let's do it this way, this way, this way. She was amazing about it. Susan Burgo, and this will come up later, I actually could not take one of the notaries that work at Unlimited Ink because we changed his name, because other signing services would not want to work with him. And that is true. If they knew that he worked with Unlimited Ink, because we're a competitor and he's not doing anything shady. He's just working behind the scenes with us. So we've changed his name completely. So you can't even find him and blacklist him because he works with another company. So I couldn't take him, couldn't take Travis because Travis has to man the fort while I'm gone. I took Susan Burgo and I called her and I said, hey, I really need someone to go with me to this. And you're going to hear about this in just a little bit. But I want to tell you what I learned from the last conference that I went to compared to the next conference that I went to. The first thing is to perfect your presentation, okay? The first conference that you go to, you can't be afraid to go to them, but the first conference you go to, you need to be very perceptive of what other people are doing, and you need to perfect your presentation. I called in the big guns when I called in June Siegelhill, okay? She is like, and sometimes this word might not be flattering, but she's a grammar Nazi. She knows her stuff. She's got an eagle eye, and she's not going to let it slip past just because, you know, like that. She's going to say, this doesn't make sense. Okay. So you've got to find that friend in your life, and she's my friend in that life. She actually has a free Notary Stars mentorship because of her talents. That is what this group is about. Find a friend that you can trade services with. I trade not looking like an idiot for the education that we provide you guys. And she's here for every event. So if you ever need to work with her, I'm sure she'd help out any notary friend. She's a wonderful person. But I called upon that, and we had I'm not kidding you, our banners were awesome. You want to pack a powerful portfolio. You want to make sure that you have a great resume on hand, a great company resume, the best that you can do. At these conferences, you're going to want to put them on everyone's table and everyone's bag. You want to make sure that you can put your resume, and I did too this year. This is my second time doing a big conference like this. I had one 4x9 that was our banners turned into a 4x9, which was like a quick reference with QR codes going to our full resume on the flyer. And then I also had my professional resume in a nice folder with business cards all stuck in there. You want to make sure that you get swag that sticks. What I mean by that is we actually did beach bags this year for Unlimited Ink because it's hot. We're going through a heat wave. We did beach bags. We took our lettering off Unlimited Ink's logo and put it on and put escrow closed. This is going to make sure that people reuse your products and see. They're going to remember where they got it. They're going to remember you. We got a good quality bag. We actually did not make the people who sponsored the bags for the conference very happy because ours were so good. That's okay. We made friends by the end, and he's actually going to appear on here for you guys. But don't be ashamed to spend a little good money on a good quality product that you're going to give away, but you don't have to put your logo on it because then they're never going to reuse it. You want to get something that they can reuse and be happy that they got it because you want to leave a good feeling. And remember what Maya Angelou says, people never forget all kinds of things, but they don't forget how you make them feel. Giving them a good beach bag during the summer or a good warm coffee mug during the winter, whenever your conference is, be aware of that. I'm going to talk about prime positioning. Most conferences that I go to work like this. They tell you, be here at this time. We're going to assign tables. Be there first. Okay? Don't wait for them to send an email and say, are you guys coming? Or you can set up at 6 a.m. if they have the option to go in first. Unlimited Ink and Notary Stars, because I promoted both companies this year. And I did not give one speech at that conference about Unlimited Ink. I gave it all about Notary Stars. We were at the front door, so that no matter what if you went to the bathroom, you had to walk past us. Okay. You want to be in prime positioning for your conference. These Notary Stars, actually, if you go to our Instagram and our Facebook and see how we set up our table, these Notary Stars brought a lot of attention. Most conference rooms are not very bright lit. They have light shining down, but they're doing weddings and intimate events and all these things in these conference rooms. So bringing your own lighting to light up your table. And our white tablecloth for Unlimited Ink with our logo really stood out because everybody used those black tablecloths. They were all, and then you have that section that's just Unlimited Ink that had the glitter and the Notary Stars and everything in the white tablecloth. It really stood out, and people were like, wow, like your table looks like come and visit me, because you're bringing that energy in. So if you have a logo, make sure you put it on something that's brighter so that it really pops out and stands out so they see it. Everybody else just kind of seemed to blend it in the room. It didn't have any feel to it. You want to sweeten the deal? So what we did, and I learned this from last conference I went to, this guy made lunchboxes. That was his bag. He made lunchboxes with his logo on it, put candy and soda and everything. So we went in before the event and put like a little thing of candy with our card on every single seat in the house. Okay. If you're able to do that, I bought like a 10-pound bag of candy. We went in and we did a lot of Starburst for Notary Stars. People love candy during a conference because they're bored. It's 8 hours of learning. Could you imagine doing this training session tonight for 8 hours? H to the E to the double hockey sticks? No, it's a lot of work. So you're giving them that sugar that they need and putting a good taste in their mouth. And every time they look down at that candy, which everybody loves candy. I mean, some people don't, but most people do, especially during a conference, they're going to see your card and your logo attached to that candy. You want to find inexpensive things to go in your bags. So recently I've learned this with our last Notary Stars event. We found like gold star stress balls that were on Amazon, put them in all the conference bags that we had, or not conference bags, but little bags that we gave for giveaway for our ride. And I wound up doing the same thing for this conference. It cost me like $14 for like 60. And they all got little positive messages on them. And you can find things that match your brand and your logo. You just got to get creative about it and search Amazon and know these things ahead of time. I'm going to tell this one, and it's kind of exciting. Be bold, but be respectful. I had no shame of being there first. I had no shame of going and putting my bag on the back of every chair there. When I was told, hey, I sponsor the bags, I said, that's great. Well, we have so much stuff that we have to do a bag. They were like, okay. We put our card on every table. Nobody else did that. Every person saw our stuff at this conference. So be bold, but be respectful. We didn't like take up the whole table. We took a little section in front of everybody. If you brought a card, you could put one on that table too. And I'm sure they would have been happy for it. But I asked permission. They were like, you can do whatever you want. You paid to be here. You're an affiliate sponsor. And then the last thing I'll tell you is, and this is going to lead into my next little segment, and I'm going to get through that one in like 5 minutes or less, I hope. Engage with everybody at the conference, but remember what their conference is about. Every conference has a theme, and never go to sell your company. When I got up they usually give you a chance to speak and introduce. You've already spent this money on resumes, putting bags on the chair. You got there early. I did not speak about unlimited ink. In fact, the first words out of my mouth was, you all have a bag and you have a resume. If you're interested in working with unlimited ink, we'd love to hear from you. But let me tell you about Notary Stars, because they were there for an educational annual conference to learn about fraud and different items and different things. And they were there to learn. And I said, let me tell you about Notary Stars, where notaries are learning. And I said, there are courses out there, and I have to say, I invited them to go and look up some of the signing services that talk about make six figures, that are putting quantity before quality, or monetization before quality. I got a lot of claps on that one, guys. There's not an escrow officer out there that wants to hear you make more money than them and don't care about their job. They really loved hearing about Notary Stars. And I said, don't forget to flip over that unlimited ink resume and learn about Notary Stars and hire them direct, and make sure your signing services are requesting them. They all clapped. And now I want to get to the questions, Ms. Beth, if that's okay.
You bet. We had a couple of little announcements here as well. Congratulations, June, for the state of Virginia. Got a raise. You got a pay raise, man. Yay. That passed. You guys are now charging $10 per notarial act. Good job. There was some contention about getting that pushed through, and you did a good job. Washington also got a pay raise effective June 22nd, or it passed June 22nd. I'm not sure if that's the effective date or not. Another $10 per notarial act. And you can charge a travel fee, and the actual cost of copying documents when you're doing copy certifications, Washington can also charge for those. They've also had their RON regulations, and I don't know, maybe Bill can speak to this, but in their RON notarizations, they can now do trusts, powers of attorney, advanced healthcare directives over RON. Previously, that was restricted. You couldn't do those documents on a RON platform. So things are turning, guys. We're doing good. Keep moving in.
Yeah, and I just want to say to you, Washington notaries, I'm very happy for you, but I'm still jealous because we can't do power of attorney on Ron down here yet, and that's part of advanced healthcare directives. So go you, very happy for you. I really mean it, but I still sulking because we can't.
Do you want to start with hands in the gallery, Mr. Ronnie?
Let's start out with the job form and then kind of alternate between the hands in the gallery and see how many we can go as quickly as possible with them.
Okay. Well, let's take them in order so we can get them kind of cleaned up here. Let me see where we're at.
I think it's one for you about a non-borrowing spouse. Is that the one where you would be? Just want to make sure.
I was gonna say that we've got something here that we should probably address too.
Okay, go ahead.
This is something, guys, that we talk about in class all the time. And I want to remind notaries when they're presented with an ID outside of their normal state or normal IDs that they see day in and day out, the state driver's license or passport, they should begin to use the tools they have in place. You've got the knowledge on how to ID customers, clients. You've got books from NNA that publishes state ID reference documents. What's the name of the NNA book? That shows all 50 states driver's license, passports, even some foreign passports. You guys need to start utilizing those tools in order to identify your clients. One of the biggest problems is we don't spend enough time looking at those IDs. We grab that ID, immediately put our heads down and start putting it in our journals, and we don't even stop to look at the photo on that ID. Please take your time and verify those IDs. Make sure they're not fraudulent. Make sure they belong to the person sitting across the table from you. That's where the fraud occurs. The notaries don't spend enough time on those IDs. Scrutinize them.
And Miss Beth, just to throw my 2 cents on that, I asked Miss Beth to bring that in this week because we have, fraud is on the rise, guys. We have fraud coming from every angle with AI being able to produce something on an image that looks like an ID. Here's what my 2 cents on it. When you are presented something other than the state you live in ID that you see all the time, your friends throw it on your counter, you go into the gas station, you have to present your own all the time. When you see something other than your state ID or United States passport, stop. Like they say, like for fire, stop, drop, and roll. You stop, drop, and roll to your resources. If you see another state ID, look in that resource book because you're not seeing that ID enough. Now, if you live on a border state where people are going back and forth, you might let that border state out of the wheelhouse. But anything other than a U.S. driver's license or a U.S. passport, stop, drop, and roll. We'll leave it at that for the moment. I'll have to come up with language.
Yeah, Jacob put that ID checker guide, driver's license guide.com in the chat, so you guys can look that up. US Canada ID checking guide from the NNA. Also, if you're a member of an NNA, you can just Google that, and that should be, it's a tiny book, guys. It should be carried in your bag all the time. You bet. All righty.
And now do you want to go for one from the gallery and then one from, let's go one and one. Let's play ping pong.
All right, ping pong. LaDonna's up first.
Hello, everyone. I'm sorry, my voice is kind of gone. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, yeah.
Okay. I got a referral call today for general notary work, but the position is It's a custody battle. The father's incarcerated. The mother has issues. So the mother's willing to give up guardianship to the grandmother at this time. But I'm not sure if the father has to give up guardianship also, because his parental rights also. So I didn't touch it because I wasn't sure which way to start with it, and they didn't have all the information either.
Well, first of all, it's not your job to know.
Okay.
I will tell you, yes. I used to work with the CASA organization here in Arizona. I did that for 7 years, and it was a court-appointed special advocate for minors in child protective services.
Okay.
So yes, both parents have to give up their rights, custodial rights, and that can be permanent, as in, I don't ever want to see them again, or temporarily until they, get their act together or whatever needs to happen. But that's not an issue that you need to know. You could have met with her and notarized her signature on guardianship papers for her child or children.
Okay.
Then you could have turned around and done the same thing with her spouse or the father of the children who's incarcerated. You'd have to do a jail signing. So, but it's for her to figure out what paperwork she needs. But yes, yeah, they both have to sign off on that.
And her question was, could she just write a letter giving her mother guardianship, or would could she just go get the documents from the court to bring? And I didn't touch it because I said I can't instruct you on what to do. I can only verify your signature for what you're coming to me for.
Yeah, you could advise her. Or director, you can advise her. Let's put it that way. Yes, she can go check out the courthouse. And usually family court will have those documents available for her. All she has to do is either go in person or make a phone call or go online.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
You betcha. All righty. Let's go back to the jot form. This is an older question that's kind of been hanging out for a while. This one says, I have a signing in a little while with a non-borrowing spouse, so she will sign a few documents. They have her name followed by to release dower. I've reached out to the title with no reply. Would you have her write that verbiage or just sign her name? Probably just sign her name. So when it says to release dower, even if it's on her signature line, it is just describing what her position is in the signing. So a lot of times we'll see seller and then the seller's name, borrower and then the borrower's name. This is kind of the same thing. Her name to release dower. So to release her interest in the property. So probably I'm going to say just her name, but I always want you to double check with your hiring party just to make sure. But that would be my advice to you if you were in a pickle and couldn't get a hold of anybody. Okay. And I don't know, that was an anonymous one. So let's see. Oh, there's got to be one in here for Mr. Mickle. I'm going to skip. He's trying to direct me, but we're going to go back up to hands up in the gallery. And guys, if you have questions, go ahead and put your virtual hand up. You can ask them live here. If you're trying to put something in on the jot form while we're in session, we're not going to see it. Okay. Susan, do you want to unmute and ask your question?
Hi, everyone.
Hi there.
I asked Unlimited or Ronnie and Notary Stars to add translation services to my website.
Okay.
And the turnaround was pretty quick. And today I received 2 different phone calls from people wanting information on translation services. And I kind of thought that what was going to happen was there would be a referral button on the website that refers them to somebody else. So I have no idea what I'm supposed to say.
So that's a really great question, and I actually asked you to bring this up. So as you guys know, my specialty with websites is I don't build a 5-page website. I build a 25,000 page website with going into every zip code, especially for the raw notaries and all of those things. My marketing students are here. Miss Susan's one of them. We recently got it down to a science where you can buy a page going into several thousand zip codes. And we added Idiomatic, which is something that you guys can do. And if you're in my marketing class, we're now really going into affiliate marketing when it comes to what you can advertise on your website. Idiomatic, which is document translations, is one of them. I'm starting to get those translation calls. I called Gabriel from Idiomatic and said, wow, this is really exciting. I'm getting those calls. You are going to send them the link. Let them know, and your website is actually, I already know this, is already built, saying that you have partnered with Idiomatic to be able to refer professionals. So when you get those calls, you're going to say, I believe in this company. I've partnered with them. You know, I've vetted them for you. You're going to need to contact them, and you're going to send them your affiliate link. You're going to send them your website page that it's on. So you have one master page, and then you have all your ones that are bringing in the phone calls. They have to then go to that page and click on that link. So you need to send them back the link. And it's okay to say, I've partnered with that company, because that's what you've done. You've chosen them to say, I don't handle the translations. I've already vetted this company for you, and send them back the link. Now, other people are just going to click through because we put those order translation services now on those pages. Myself, I'm already making money. You know, I've already been set my money for the ones that have been done. This was probably the smartest thing. And for those notaries who have bought it already, is now generating income, maybe a little bit. But I love that I think I told you last week, AJ just finished your pages, and now you're getting calls on Monday. So that's wow.
Amazing.
Fast.
It's amazing.
And here's why. Because there's not that many translation services out there that know how to run their websites like notaries. So that's why they're partnering with notaries, because you guys meet a lot of people. You have big websites, especially if you're in my class. You're able to reach those far reaches, but you've got to know how to navigate that. So the answer to that question is, here's the page where I have it. This is everything I know about it. I've partnered with them so that they can take care of you. I take care of my customers when it comes to notarization, but this is the company that I trust. And if it's not Idiomatic, it could be any company that you're promoting. We're doing several things right now in the wheelhouse of seeing how far we can expand our websites. You just send them that page and make sure they click on that link, or you can send them your direct link.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Awesome. Totally awesome. Going back to jot form, once again, this came in from Natalie R. And I already checked, she's not in the gallery this evening, so darn it, I'm gonna have to make sure I send her an email. It says, can you please explain what exactly the 1 to 4 family rider document is pertaining to the mortgage deed of trust? This question has come up during signings throughout the years, and I want to ensure I have the correct understanding of why this document is in some packages. Well, I'm going to say come to class, because we talk about that 1 to 4 family rider quite a bit. Basically rider means it rides with the deed of trust. That 1 to 4 family rider indicates it is a assignment of rents. So it's not talking about the number of units in a property, which a lot of people think it is. If you read through it, you're going to figure out that the property that's being financed is a non-primary residence. So it's a secondary or an investment property. And it just says that if the borrower defaults on their mortgage, and they have a tenant in the property, they don't have any right to keep collecting the rent from the tenant. It goes to the lender. So it's an assignment of rents, and it covers anything from a single family home up to a property that has 4 units in it, right? So it just is an assignment of rents, and I hope that helps, Natalie. Let's go ahead and move on. Dora, would you like to unmute and ask your question?
Good evening. Can you hear me?
Oh, just barely.
Okay, let me. Is that better?
A
Yes,
little
ma'am.
bit. Go ahead.
Okay, I just okay. So I just wanted your feedback. I've had a couple of situations doing notary assignments through signing services this past week, and I've been doing this almost, well, going on 3 years. And my business has thankfully really um been keeping me very, very busy. And sometimes I don't get to come on these meetings because of it. I work late hours too.
It's a
Well,
good
anyways,
problem to have.
yes. So I have two situations, and that unlike any other situations I've had with signing services, I usually never have issues. But the first one is I took an assignment from signing order from a signing service giving me an assignment for two witnesses to sign. It was a husband and wife signing a affidavit of heirship, but it was one of those types of affidavit of heirships where it has a lot of blanks. Like they filled in, what they wanted and a couple of more items they wanted filled in um, for me to go have them fill in what, like how many years they knew the decedent, and it was a jurat, of course. And so when I sat with the couple, they were an older couple. We walked through the questions of what, because I called the signing service. I'm not sure if it was the signing service I was speaking to or the agency that requested the assignment. I think I was speaking to the agency, which was the client. So then um I asked the guy, what do you need me to do, because the instructions were not as clear. So he said, fill in what was missing, and I understood. And it's a jurat, so my understanding is we're not supposed to notarize um or give an oath and have something notarized as a jurat if there's blanks in the document. And so I went through and we filled in everything. Well, then they pretty much came back at me the next day and said, you didn't follow the directions. We're not going to pay you. How do you want to resolve this? Because they wanted me to go back and leave those sections that they didn't want filled in blank. And so I let them know, uh, you know, if it's a jurat, my Texas rules and regulations states I'm not supposed to notarize something with blanks in it. And then they didn't get back to me. What ends up happening is they put the assignment back out on the platform. I tried to accept it. They increased the fee, but they wouldn't let me do it. So I didn't call them back or anything. And I don't know if this is just something I should let go, but I looked back at the assignment and they zeroed me out.
Miss Dora, before Miss Beth goes on that, I just love to know the name of this company because other notaries need to know about that because well, before you say their name, Miss Beth, what is your take on it? Because
Well, she was absolutely right to stand her ground. First of all, number one, it is illegal in any state to complete a jurat where the signer is given an oath swearing and affirming the information in the document is true. If there are blanks, then they either have to be disabled or that information has to be filled in. The only time we can get away with that is when the information is not yet known, and that might be specifically the date on the sale of a property that hasn't happened yet. Those are future items, not past items that should be filled in on those documents. So Dora did absolutely the right thing in refusing to complete the assignment with blank spaces. The fact that this service, even after talking with her, took the order away from her and put it back out and jerked her pay from her. They should have at least given her a trip and a print fee. I mean, in my opinion, there was a situation where she was unable to complete it. They know she can't do that. They are an accessory to a crime. In my mind, they're facilitating a notary to break the law. And
Miss
they're trying to twist her arm to do that, and that's wrong.
Go ahead. I'm gonna pause this recording for just a moment. I'm sorry, sometimes you have to be here because we get into real live events here. I don't want Miss Dora to get in trouble or us. So I'm gonna pause the recording. All right, sometimes you gotta be here for the good juice. Miss Dora, go ahead and share that second incident with us.
Okay, so another signing service had sent out a blast while I was finishing another assignment. It was already after 7 p.m. I wasn't going to take it. I didn't care if they gave it to me or not. Well, lately, signing services have been calling to follow up if you accept something and just to confirm that you want to do it. So this was for like a title loan. So I had to go take pictures and they needed me there by 8. And because from my home, this location was almost an hour, but because of my current location, it was maybe 15, 20 minutes. So when I got called by the signing service to see if I would confirm to go ahead and do it, as long as I could get there by 8, I went ahead and went, based on, they said, please go and meet with this signer. So I did, and it wasn't a lot of documents, so I was already at FedEx. And so I got what I needed and drove to them. Well, it turns out when I tried, and maybe I did something wrong because I didn't actually confirm with the actual signer by phone that they were ready and available. That's why I'm bringing this up, because I was taking the word of the signing service rep or owner. I don't know who I was speaking to. I'd have to look back at my records. And then showed up, and then finally I made contact with the signer who happened to be at work. She said, I spoke to another notary earlier and said I wasn't available until tomorrow morning between 8 and 10. So somehow there was a lack of miscommunication, and I was given wrong information to go to the assignment by 8 p.m. And I communicated this to the service, and then they tried to offer it to me for the next morning, but I was not available. Plus, it was like 50 minutes from my home. So I did not accept it. And because of that, they zeroed me out. So I don't know. Again, let it go. Um, Fight this. I haven't tried to call them because, you know, I sometimes wonder if it's even worth it. I'm too busy and I don't want to waste my time.
There's no such thing as being too busy, and sometimes it boils down to a matter of principle. Okay, I've helped a lot of notaries off of these calls obtain their payments, and you can call me tomorrow. You can send me an email, contact@notarystars.com. I'd love to help notaries with these types of situations. But if you've done your job and you've done it right, like if you haven't done it right, I can't help you because there's usually a
Right.
contract in place. But if you've done your job and they don't have a good contract, they have to pay you, self-included.
Mean, oh, and even when I was there, I was letting the signing service know this person isn't answering the phone and I'm here at her location. But by the time she answered me, that was when we were texting. I was texting with the signer. And when I did that to talk to the signing service, they said, let me check. And she never got back to me. She let me sit there. And thankfully, the signer reached out to me and said, and explained everything, that I said I wasn't going to be available till tomorrow morning between 8 and 10 a.m. And then I let the signing service know, but they would have let me sit there if I wasn't the one initiating the communication
Yeah.
between the two parties.
Miss Dora, I want to tell you, and Beth McGee, if you're available, if you could raise your hand, because I'd just love for you to speak about this with the New York movement. I'm gonna send you the request to unmute. I actually want to work on this at Notary Stars. Okay, there is a contract that we have as signing services that everybody agrees to. But if you've done your job and you haven't broken that contract in any way, like you went back and fixed your errors or you didn't miss cutoff and all of these things that I put in unlimited, you should be paid for your job, especially if you're over communicating. Miss Beth McGee had brought to my attention that in New York, there's actually a movement or a law that's coming in place for contractors. And I think as Notary Stars, we should start propelling this into the future for all states. Miss Beth, and not to cover you up, Miss Dora, but Miss Beth, you had sent me information on that and brought it up in class. Do you want to tell everybody about what's going on in New York right now?
So this is the movement is Freelance Isn't Free. And there's actually a website specifically for that that shows the different cities and states that have passed it. So the Freelance Isn't Free Act in New York State does go into effect this year. It's in effect in Illinois, Minneapolis, Los Angeles, Seattle, and New York City, I think is where it started. But there's a website called freelancersunion.org that gives information about it. I would love to see notaries and other independent freelancers in other states get together and advocate in their states for it, primarily because the only way that it's going to be effective is if your state is a fellow state that already has enacted the law. So like in the way that I can get New York State to work for me and advocate for me in this respect is if the offender is in a state that also participates with this law. So it would be fantastic if notaries would get together. I guess with so many notaries now, I mean, I think it was maybe a foregone conclusion that sooner or later the word unionize or something like that might come about in discussions, but definitely the Freelancers Union, Freelance Isn't Free Act is really important. It's a way for you to one of the stipulations I think is that it prevents them from like blacklisting you if you work to seek your money, get your money from them, which I think is really a thing that keeps notaries from seeking their due funds because they're afraid of retribution or getting blacklisted from companies that are challenging to work with. So anyway, this I can put the link to that in the chat. Yeah.
Please do. And I really want all of us to take a moment to zero in and look at that. And Ms. Dora, this is case in point. It's all going to happen to all of us. And I love the whole thing, freelance isn't free. I have not paid notaries for making severe mistakes and refusing to fix them because they're delaying a closing and it's part of the contract that you should be able to navigate that package and do it or correct your error. We always give the ability to correct the error, but if it's something that the notary can't do, we will take that into consideration. I own a business. It's a business, but I also own it with my heart on my sleeve. And I appreciate the contractors that work for us. If you can fight that and I would love to work with you directly, membership or not, send me an email that comes directly to me, contact@notarystars.com. And I can help you do that. But I think as a group collectively, we should start moving toward freelance isn't free. Because the only difference between me right now and you right now, unless you own a signing service, is that we've gotten so busy that I can't go out and do notaries. But you bet your bottom dollar that if business goes down, I would be back out in the field and coming back to teach classes, just like I used to 5 years ago. There's no difference in anybody on here. When you don't get paid, it sucks. And we've got to find a way to fight that. So I'm glad you brought these questions up. I got to sneeze, guys, so I'm going to.
That's you.
Excuse
Good
me.
job.
I tried to turn the camera and the mute off, but I got the mute on.
Okay, so we are already 5 minutes past the hour, Mr. Mickel. We have 2 hands raised and about 6 questions still on jot form. How do you want to proceed?
So I know that time is precious and we have East Coast people. I'm going to highlight a question. Let's get Miss LaDonna's hand raised because her virtual arm's got to be fit to be tied. I'm going to go through and highlight in yellow the questions on the jot form that we should probably get to tonight, and we'll maybe do 10 minutes over if everybody's okay with that. And if you're not, we're recording it, so you can always come back and watch it. But I want to try to get as many off of those as off of the jot form as can. So Miss LaDonna, why don't you go ahead and start asking your question?
Okay. Really quick, I just applied for to have my business name legalized through the Secretary of State. I obtained my virtual email, virtual address and business phone number. After I signed the contract, I was told that Google Business may or may not accept the address because it's a shared commercial address, but I could go ahead and try to put it on there anyway. And I guess my question is, I also bought my domain on GoDaddy. So should I try to obtain a phone number at least through them, or go ahead and proceed with what I have to see if it's accepted? And then if it gets rejected, go another way.
So as a notary, you're going to need to put your own address. You're not going to be able to use a shared address if they catch on to it. And even if they let it slip by the first time, they're going to deny it later. They don't allow you to put one at like a UPS store or a shared address. You're going to need to put your address. But the good news is you can hide your address. So you go through it with your address, and then you, after you get approved, or even before, you can say, don't show this address. I do a service area.
Okay.
And I have those videos. If you go to the Notary Stars YouTube page, the actual page, not just a video, go to the profile. I have all of those things. And if you get denied, I even have the video on how to do it. It's all free.
Okay. Okay. I'm just coming into the marketing class, so I plan on going back and catching up.
Yeah,
So
and
I'll probably see that.
if you just got to the marketing class, my phone number is in your dashboard, so you can reach me anytime.
Okay.
Just
Thank
just
you.
don't get crazy.
Thanks, Ronnie.
Thank you.
Okay, let's go to jot form here. This little big guy here from Nick. I'm in one of those witness states that you can be a witness on a document. I don't like doing this, but in an emergency, I can. I'm not sure how to communicate that to title or signing agencies. Witnesses in my state go for 25 bucks. I'm now getting signing agencies that expect you to sign as a witness without being extra compensated for it. Am I being dumb about it?
Yeah.
Also asking to be compensated as a witness on top of my notary seal. So I'm going to say, yeah, you're being dumb about it.
Miss Beth, I want to say, I know this notary. He does a lot of great work for us in Tennessee. I don't know if you knew that from the.
Yes, I know who that is.
Okay, yeah, he does a lot of great work for us. We also know him as Biscuit Notary. He's a good guy. You said your piece. I want to say this, and then you can top it off.
Oh no, I didn't say my piece yet. I only spit out my quick answer.
Go. Okay, then go ahead. Yes.
So if you're the notary, and a witness on a document, I'm going to say that we got a problem right up front, but only from the standpoint of best practices. You never really want to be the notary and the witness on the same document. I'm going to throw that out there. The second thing is $25 for a witness is standard when you have to bring a separate body or coordinate a separate person to be present at your signing, or two people, whatever that is. For you as the notary, if you're going to be acting as the notary as well as the witness, asking for an additional $25 to provide that service is probably not kosher. Can't nickel and dime them for everything, Biscuit. Come on. Now I've said my piece.
Okay, and then I'll say mine. So coming from a nationwide signing service that owns, you know, a lot of books of business. Okay, we have different people that own business under the Unlimited Ink umbrella other than myself. Florida is a notary can be a witness state if you're in Tennessee. So you're going to have a lot of files from Florida. The further you move west, you may not have as many, right? So they may understand that. You're in Tennessee, they're going to be like, whatever. They're not going to want to work with you if you're not willing to be that witness on the document. And if it was my client, and I'm going to tell you exactly how this works, because I know exactly who sends you all the files. If you were to come back and be like, I don't want to be the witness, they're going to say, find another notary who will. And, you know, you have to, and maybe your state says it, and maybe the NNA says it, but Florida says the notary can be a witness. and it's going back to Florida. If it was in Tennessee and they said the notary can be a witness and your state says don't, that would be a different story, but they're not gonna pay you 2 witness fees unless you're in like a really BFE area, and we all know that means B.
Yeah, we get it.
Okay. Unless you're really rural and they don't have any other choices, but you're not. You're like in a, you know, an area where there's lots of people. So they're not gonna go for that. So I would say, I would probably just say, this is not the way I want to operate, but this is the way I have to operate because you're in an area where they're going to have a lot of Florida files. You know, the people in Tennessee just love Florida. Is that, and I see you shaking your head, but do you want to add anything to that or you can if you want to.
Oh, it wasn't letting me unmute. So I was like, okay. No. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
No, I know that I'm being dumb.
There's no such thing as being dumb. You are figuring out your footing in this industry.
Yes.
You're figuring out your footing because there's no dumb, right? You don't know until you ask. You ask a question that's not a dumb question. And, you know, you had put it in there and I think Miss Beth responded like, yeah, don't do that. But there's no dumb questions. Not here, not anywhere. You just don't know until you know, right?
Exactly.
Awesome. All right, Miss Beth, we're now at 12 minutes over, but let's get Butch up here and then we're gonna have to kind of call it at Butch. Because we're 15 minutes over. Mr. Butch?
Okay, yeah, Ronnie, do you use the tanning machine before you do the session?
No, I use a lot of Zoom filter.
Okay, we're gonna have to go to Melissa's question now.
What? Okay.
Cut to Melissa.
I have no problem. Look, I'm like Dolly Parton. Miss Susan seen me in real life. A lot of you have. I do not look the way that I look on this camera in real life. Like, I got a Zoom filter. I get Botox. I'm wearing makeup. I have mascara, man for beard because Nancy Fauché thinks that I have a big white spot on my face. I have no shame in saying I'm gonna be like Dolly Parton. Okay, I'm gonna tup it, nick it, paint it, whatever. But what's your real question, Mr. Butch?
He doesn't have one.
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Ronnie, the CNTDA, you spoke about that before. Now I've got to change my strategy. Now, okay, to be more specific, if I bring someone that wants their estate planning done, did you say that I can't demand to get paid for that, or I can't be the notary that does that? I mean, what grounds do I have? How do I stand on that?
Great question. And I would love for all of you who are out there that are doing trust delivery to make sure you cross that threshold into my marketing class because I'm incorporating a lot of this. But in some states, you cannot get a commission even from an estate planning company as a trust delivery agent. And New York is one of them. We just found out this weekend at the conference, Arizona may not be one of them, even though that's where the company is located. We were told by a document preparer and company, and we're going to have them on that may not actually be legal for them to do in the state of Arizona. Now, here's the thing. And the reason I'm so passionate about this is that there are companies creating a free workforce for notaries to go out and advertise them, but there has to be a checks and balances. If it's legal in your state to refer an estate planning company, you cannot refer attorneys. Attorneys will lose their license if they pay you a commission unless you are an attorney to bring them a client. It is federal law, like all 50 states. You cannot, it's not federal law, but all 50 states agree. Notaries cannot pay anyone any amount of money to bring them a client unless they're another attorney, and that's only for some states. So now you're left with estate planning companies, and certain states say that you cannot do that. If you refer business from one single client, you are making the suggestion of where to get the documents, which means you cannot now be the notary. So there has to be some sort of checks and balances, and this is all new, right? I don't think that it was thought out very well about bringing this out to notaries and charging so much money for training. Because let's face it, there's not that much to learn about trust documents other than how to notarize a document and how to talk to an attorney. I don't think it was thought out very well. And so you have to find out checks and balances with the companies that you are working with to sell, because I can refer business all day to, and I'm just going to throw the first name that she's literally been there all night in the middle, Christy Kawabi. She's been right in front of me all night, so I'm just using her name. I could refer business to her all day, but that doesn't mean she has to pay me a kickback because we don't have a contract. We don't have any kind of, if I send her business, she has no obligation to say, oh, well, that came from Unlimited Ink. I'm going to pay them a kickback, which is why all sign services get their money up front and then pay you later. So that system, there's no affiliate link that you click on that tracks it. There's no proof that they bought it or not. You guys have to follow up with those clients. So now you're like a full sales force out there, free labor for these estate planning companies. Free labor. You are free labor. You're investing in your websites, your marketing materials, setting up meetings. Now you're following up with clients. But what are you going to do if they took one and didn't tell you? You invested all that time. So my initiative with this is to, if we're going to do this as a community, which I want to do it too, it's very exciting. I brought it on Notary Stars and said to present this, but then I wasn't told the full story. Now I'm learning more and more from you guys that are doing it, and we're advertising on a website. So you need to be able to track who you refer and have a contract in place saying you have to pay me if I can legally do this in my state. And what's going to happen if you don't pay me? And how are we going to track this? So that's all important information. Otherwise, you're just free labor. I mean, it might as well, we'll leave it at that. You're just free labor if you're not tracking it. My advice, and Butcher in my marketing class, is to have 5 reputable companies if you're able to do it in your state. And we will find out very soon if it's legal in Arizona for an Arizona estate planning company to actually pay a notary, because I was told at a conference this weekend from a big company, a big one, that is in the handbook that is actually illegal for an estate planning company to pay another notary or anyone for a client in their licensing, if they're licensed with the state. So, which is also important, right? So to answer your question, Butch, we've got a little working out to do. And you're a part of the class, so I'm going to always work it out with you. We're navigating this as quickly as possible. But for those of you who can sell it in your state, I'm definitely teaching you how to reach all the zip codes with my dynamic marketing. So a little plug there. But thank you for that question. I just don't have a definitive answer at this moment, because we're going to go through a little bit of limbo. And it's great to say, yes, you can do this, pay $500 to learn, but then can you actually do it? That's the big question. Thank you for that question. Ms. Melissa, I said that was the last question, but you've been very patient. I'm going to do that one, and then you're our last one.
All right. Hi, everyone. I was offered an inspection job for tomorrow, but I'm not going to do it after all, but because it was a repossession yard. There was going to be 3 trucks and then some video and what have you with the report. But they wanted me to have a certificate of insurance to go on their yard, which the insurance I have doesn't cover. And I called around to insurances company, and they kind of didn't really know where I was or what I was talking about. So I wanted to know if anyone else knows, is it just regular general liability for your company?
Yes,
Get a certificate of insurance?
it is. You need to have a general liability policy, and that COI, certificate of insurance, they issue one to every company. The company that I'm with is Travelers for my general liability. And every year that my policy renews, I get a packet of stuff like this in the mail. And it's got a certificate of insurance in there for every company that I'm signed up with.
Oh, wow.
And nobody wants them, you know, unless they're a title company or a inspection company. Those are the ones that want them, but everybody else gets one too. They only issue them if you give them the names of everybody you work for, but it's always a good idea to have them in that portfolio in case something happens.
Cool. Thank you. Do you know an average good price for a year of that?
You know what? Let me look up what mine is, Melissa, and I'll email you later, okay?
Okay. All right. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Miss Melissa, if you don't mind, we had a text message chain going. I'm just gonna ask you to mute one more time because I want to ask. You said that you were getting ready to jump over to the marketing, but you didn't know if you could afford a website. And I responded with, and I want to say this for everyone, if you feel like you can't afford a website for your notary work, think about what you'll be losing if you don't make the website. And I wanted to share that, and I hope that's okay. I can cut this out if you don't want me to say that, but for anybody that's looking for a website, it costs minimal per month once you get it up and running. Of course, if you paid me to do it, it costs more money, but I teach you in my marketing class how to do it step by step. There's not a person here that won't tell you that they can't build their own website. Think about the cost that you will lose if you don't build your own website and know how to control it as a small business owner. And no matter what we do as notaries, even Unlimited Inc. is still considered a small business. Multi-million-dollar company. We say multi-million because we can do 2, 3, 4, but unless you cross 5, you're not a multi-million-dollar company. Every small business owner needs to know how to run and operate and control their own website and understand search engine optimization. It's what you will lose if you don't, because your competitors will. So that's why I responded that way, and I wanted to share that conversation we had on text message about it, because I know you and how hard you're working at your business and how much you're trying to perfect it. You do need that website.
I'll talk to you later.
Yeah, absolutely. But thank you for letting me share that example.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
All right, everybody. Biscuit, you know you can email us. We've got to end the session. On the East Coast, it's already almost 9:30 and these people are hanging on. If I could ask everybody to turn on their cameras tonight, to please, let's give our signature wave. This is important because I know we have a lot of fresh faces here tonight. I want to ask you to wave to yourself if you're coming back to watch the replay. Wave to the future notaries who are going to join us on Notary Stars. Wave to the people who have not even decided to join this industry yet, but may stick a toe in. Come on, everybody. You can turn on those cameras. We don't care if you're halfway naked, as long as you're covered from the shoulders down, shoulders up. Tucking your kids in, just take a moment, turn on those cameras. Let's wave to everybody. And Miss Beth, how do we say it here at Notary Stars?
Well, first I'm going to remind you, don't forget to download and save the chat. Number 2, Ronnie was talking earlier about letting go of that negative energy so that a higher power can put some positive back into your hands. I'm going to tell you, save one hand to reach back and grab the hand of another notary. Bring them along on your journey, please. Show them the way. Be kind and help somebody out. Be a notary star. There you go. Thanks, guys. Have a good evening.